The 2025 Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. We've now arrived at the season finale, which thanks to Pirelli's awful tires and Gasly, is now a three-way battle for the title, and what a place to do it at. Yes, Marina Circuit, with its crazy flat-out turns 2, 3 and 4, its beautiful hotel section where nothing bad ever happens, and of course the back straight.
No, Mikey, no, Mike, that was so not right.
This combination, along with the fact that the UAE pays F1 more than it does its foreign workers to be last on the calendar, made it the home of championship fights, like 2016 where Nico Rosberg beat Lewis Hamilton in equal machinery, despite the latter backing up everyone into oblivion, with Jenson Button ending his career with a typical Honda reliability problem. We also had 2018 where 2010, where Schumacher suffered a horrific accident and Alonso and Webber got stuck and lost the championship to Vettel in the most slow and painful way imaginable, and of course the one you all know of, 2021, where Max Verstappen won his first ever F1 title, having beat Lewis Hamilton under totally normal circumstances, which 100% did not involve Lord Gotifi smashing the wall all by himself and a certain Michael Massey going ham with a safety car. But ahead of this weekend, there was some massive news I have to talk about concerning the Red Bull situation that has been going on ever since 2023 and has finally been concluded just 1 week from the end, with them choosing to sign Arvid Lindblad at VCarb as per the rumors I talked about a few weeks ago. This move obviously set up a domino effect whereby poor Isaac Hadjar got demoted to Red Bull, and you already know what that means. But more shockingly, Liam Lawson was kept at RB rather than Yuki Tsunoda, leaving him with no full-time seat, which I personally found a bit strange. Like, Yuki was complete dog ass at Red Bull, don't get me wrong, but at least he wasn't involved in an incident literally every race. And moreover, he's also shown that he's a reliable benchmark for young drivers coming into the team time and time again, but I guess it kinda makes sense it ended up like this since his biggest backer, Honda, bailed on Red Bull ahead of the season. But nevertheless, before I get into this weekend, I just want to take a quick moment to thank Coopert for sponsoring this video. Coopert is an AI-powered shopping browser extension that helps automatically find and test coupons in over 3 million stores to bring you the maximum savings possible. Now I know what you're thinking, isn't that just a scam like honey? And the short answer is that it's not, as it's fully compliant with affiliate network policies and has a 4.7 stars rating on Trustpilot. But moreover, Coopert doesn't just offer coupon codes, but it also allows you to track prices and items you'd like to buy. It compares deals on different websites like Amazon, eBay, Newegg and others to find you the best price possible, and it even offers you cashback rewards in over 76,000 retailers, including Temu, Sephora and more, which can be withdrawn using PayPal, gift cards or even straight into your bank account. All you have to do is install the extension or your browser of choice, which includes Opera, Chrome, Edge, Safari and others, and head to the checkout page to enjoy all of the features, whether it's on desktop or on your phone. Over 9 million smart shoppers use Coopert, and if you'd like to be one of them, click the link at the top of the description right now and start saving today. It's time for the first session of one of the most important races in F1 for years, which means getting the setup right was absolutely crucial, hence why the teams were immediately queuing up in the pits despite 9 rookies replacing the drivers. Most notably Arvid Lindblad in place of Yuki, Patricio O'Ward instead of Oscar, and your eyes are not deceiving you, 2 Leclerc's driving for Ferrari. Verstappen was first across the line to go quickest as the 2 Alpines nearly crashed 3 seconds to the session, and Norris had the early advantage of the mediums. Berman's hydraulics then got busted, which forced him to retire. Meanwhile Sauber went 1-2, as Arthur almost spun at the final sector, and Hirakawa was struggling in turns 6-7. Towards the end, Lando Pato and Luke Browning locked up and went off in turn 1, and Charles spun at the hairpin, or I guess did some burnouts for the fans I should say, to bring an end to the session. FP2 is a lot more relevant, since the drivers were back in their cars and the conditions were actually representative, as the teams left the garage on mediums for some long runs, with Verstappen having the early advantage over Norris and Piastri, who seemingly lost all pace again. Colapinto then had a moment at turn 6, and Ferrari were sliding and sparking all over the place, with Hamilton going wide in turn 12 and being slower than an Aston and a Williams. But as the sun started setting, the teams put on some fresh softs for quali sims, which allowed Verstappen to set a great lap, only to get beaten by Norris by over 3/10, which had me shaking in my boots. Carlos Sainz then almost lost it out of turn 2, and Oscar locked up and was still struggling, unlike the Saubers and Behrman, who was extremely quick out of nowhere. By the end, Bortolato got impeded by the big fat Leclerc to conclude the session. The final practice session saw the teams exiting the pits late, having made changes overnight in preparation for qualifying, but having done so, Norris was still the man to beat, although Piastri did seem to be doing marginally better, as Red Bull sent out Tsunoda on a final mission to try and murder Lando before quali, which didn't work. Max then put in a flying lap and was 2/10 up, with Ferrari finally recovering some pace, although spirits didn't stay high for long as Lewis Hamilton spun in turn 9 and crashed into the barrier, destroying his car to bring out a red flag and thrash any semblance of confidence dude might have had left. After the restart, Antonelli hit Tsunoda and destroyed his floor, meanwhile Piastri rose from the dead to go half a second faster than Max, followed by Norris going 2/10 faster than that, which I very much didn't enjoy watching. With the cars locked and loaded and the drivers dialed in, it was time to set the grid, with the teams leaving their garages for Q1, where Franco went drifting out of T1 as Verstappen was first and Norris was third, separated by Alonso. After more running, Piastri put in a stonking lap with Max around 3/10 behind, and Norris making a mistake and ending up 6th, whilst Bortolato and Yuki survived thanks to Hamilton failing to put it together and getting eliminated in Q1 for the 4th time in 3 weeks. In Q2, the first run saw Russell go fastest ahead of Max and the two McLarens on new tyres. But after putting on a brand new set, Alonso was cooking in 4th place as Tsunoda barely went through again along with Leclerc, who apparently was about to abort the lap. Behrman then choked and couldn't utilize the pace he had all weekend, and Kimi Antonelli made an error which put him in 14th. But now it was time for the most important part, Q3, where the first run saw Verstappen in P1 ahead of the McLarens by over 3/10. With the first set bolted on, George Russell nearly fucked it in the final corner, with Lando Norris failing to beat Max's previous lap by taking on Piastri, which meant Verstappen was starting first on the grid after a lap for the ages that was massively helped by Yuki Tsunoda giving him a tow in his final ever race, which had me convinced that Red Bull forces whoever they're about to sack to give a sacrifice to Max before fucking off, since this is pretty much what happened last year too with Ricciardo in Singapore. This is it, the moment the past 9 months have been leading up to after all the drama, all the crashes and all the bottling, as the 5 lights were out and everyone had a fantastic start despite Verstappen trying to back Lando up. Leclerc and Alonso then had a beautiful battle with Oscar Piastri pulling one of his classic gorgeous overtakes around the outside of Lando. Nando then got cleared by Russell, who had a brake issue, and Leclerc tried to get past Norris but couldn't manage to do so. Meanwhile, Lewis Hamilton and Ocon were having a battle for the ages, for 7th place. A few laps later, Russell came in for his first pit stop, followed by Leclerc and Lando, who came out in traffic, which they easily cleared, making double overtakes like it's an F1 game, or at least up until they caught Yuki, who dropped a Kimi Raikkonen and almost crashed into Norris after weaving all over the place, which forced Lando to overtake him off track, but naturally got away with it. Verstappen then came into the box next for a set of hards, as Albon sped in the pit lane and landed himself a penalty. After an incredibly boring stint, Ferrari opted to go for the 2-stop, which allowed Leclerc to get Russell and forced McLaren to do the same and leave Piastri out to dry for one more lap. But after Verstappen crossed the line to win an anticlimactic race followed by Piastri, with Hamilton making a great recovery from 16th to 8th with Bortolato scoring some points and his manager all the way up in 6th, Lando Norris somehow managed to keep ahead of Leclerc to take 3rd place, which is all he needed to do to win his first ever F1 World Championship after a great drive to bring an end to an incredible season, with Piastri sadly in 3rd, having been unable to lock in ever since Azerbaijan, as we close the DRS for the final time and say goodbye to this amazing era of Formula 1 cars. In the Constructors' Championship, Williams was able to maintain 5th place to finish their best season in a long ass time, with Mercedes claiming 2nd. But click on the video on screen right now if you enjoyed watching this one, and see ya.